Hello everyone, I am once again Steven Strom, and I am once again working for Game Zebo here on another part of the Elder Scrolls Online review diary. In the previous part here, you probably saw, if you're reading the article, the text version on the website, you probably saw me do some character creation. This is not that character that I created, this is my main character, Jennifer Hale, who I mentioned in that video, I believe, hanging out in thin air in one of the opening cities of, I want to say it's called Stonefalls, if you choose to be with the Ebonheart Pact, which is one of the different factions that you can choose in the game. So I'm going to show off a little bit of the combat and the questing in this game to give you kind of an idea of what it looks like. So as you can probably see up at the top of the window here when I don't have that up, there's a sort of compass at the very top, just like any other Elder Scrolls game. There's no mini-map in all of the Elder Scrolls Online. As far as I can tell, you can jump into a regular map like that, then you can zoom out if you want by right-clicking. That's the starting area that I'm in. Here's the real continent. We don't need that right now, though. I'm currently on a quest to find more Vani. Cannot remember why for the life of me, but that's the quest that I seem to have in my log right now. So I'm going to go find more Vani. You probably get an idea of how the world looks. It's not, how do I put this? It's technically not bad. It looks okay, but artistically, it's very brownish, grayish, like little contrast on anything. And they kind of get away with that lore-wise in Morrowind, which is where I am now, I believe, because of all the giant mushrooms. Because it's supposed to be ashy, there's a volcano, some big giant mountain. So that gives them a good excuse to bump up the draw distances, or bump down the draw distances, as it were. So yeah, if you're running around the world, you can switch between third-person and first-person view. Generally, you're going to want to stay in first-person view because the combat is much more satisfying that way. Third-person view is not great. Where is this Morvani? I'm pointing in his direction, but I don't seem to... There he is. Okay. That must be Morvani over there. So I've got a little ways to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a horse. If you bought the... there it goes. That's actually kind of my biggest concern with the game so far, is that depending on the whims of the server, perhaps my own PC, I'm not totally sure, things seem to delay quite heavily. It seems to be a problem, especially in combat when you will swing your sword. You will see your sword swing, or your axe, or your magic, or whatever you happen to be using, whatever floats your boat, and the enemies won't take damage, and the animations sometimes won't even play for a couple seconds. So here's a little dude, Quama worker. He's just working. I'm gonna ruin his day. Give you an idea of what the combat looks like here. So we've got a basic block by holding the right mouse button. We can swing by tapping the left mouse button. Sorry if you can hear my mouse clicking. Oh. Well, let's just watch them do it then. Oh, they got a flute. And some weird wing things? Okay. So that happens a lot in the game too, on the combat side of things. You will oftentimes find yourself in a situation where you want to approach a combat scenario in a specific way. It seems to be the biggest concern is with stealth, if you're trying to play a stealth type character. Can I jump on that mushroom? Yes. You will run up to an enemy, and you will get ready to land that perfect stealth headshot with a bow or whatever, and somebody else will just run up and beat it over the head with a club, and that's all she wrote on that one. But what I was talking about was, we've got a block, we've got a swing, you can hold for a charged swing, like you would do in any Elder Scrolls game, and I don't remember this being a thing in Elder Scrolls games, but if you hold block, then attack, you'll do kind of a block breaker, kind of a parry type thing, which, if an enemy is charging an attack against you, you can use that and stun them for a time. So here's a quest giver. You can tell by his black icon over his head. Normally they're white if it means that you have something to turn in. It's black if you have, you haven't picked it up yet. That's the exclamation mark of the Elder Scrolls Online. So I'll talk to him.
Look at all my beautiful Quama. Their beady little eyes, the gentle pulsing of their abdomens. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to have
So it's
to
all
get
completely
the mine
voice
back
acted, as
open,
you can
of
probably
course.
tell. Your character never
Guarma
talks. At the
are
beginning, you
very
can
good
choose a
diggers,
voice for
you
them,
know,
but it really just determines
particularly
the
the
sounds of
workers.
grunts. Voice acting is about on par with anything you'd find in any Elder Scrolls game. It's definitely better than, say, Oblivion, but I wouldn't call it any, different than, say, Skyrim. The quest that they actually put you on, and apparently I was wrong about him being a quest giver. I guess I'm turning in a quest.
So much work to do. I can't let this mine...
So the quests I found can range pretty drastically between being pretty interesting and just the most boring, like, fantasy MMO tropes that you can imagine. That guy, I believe, wanted me to go beat a bunch of Quama, these bug things, over the head, and then play a flute for them when they were down. So basically, your basic kill 10 boar, yada yada yada. I'm gonna run through this lava. It's not gonna kill me. That must be Morvani. Oh yeah, she's okay. So Morvani's supposed to be the daughter of some rich dude who is distrustful of Argonians, the lizard people, and his daughter ran off, and he thinks that she was taken by one of them. Let's see what it actually is.
Someone came. Did Father send you? I fell and twisted something. Damn, my ankle. Are you mocking me?
Okay.
Yes, of course I am.
Trapped by lava.
I'm trapped by lava flows and flaming shorks, and I can't walk. This was a shrine to the three. I come out here to pray for Mother. She was taken from us a few years. Of course he is. The overprotective Gua. Since we lost...
So I'm supposed to use some kind of signal here. You can see with the E. So, it's a lot of... there's a lot more dialogue than in your typical MMO. I wouldn't say that it makes up the majority of the game the way that it does in, say, something like Star Wars: The Old Republic. But it is pretty good. And that's a good thing, because I genuinely kind of find that the exploration by itself isn't as interesting as it is in your typical Elder Scrolls and your Skyrims and such. But if you use quests as an excuse for exploration, I think it's pretty okay. And, in this case, why would I ever go into this lava pit? Well, okay, there's a lady here. Now there's a signal.
You found Gervis's hatchling? Good.
I guess I'm seeing her safely off the island.
Bloody hand of Argonian.
I don't know how to do that, though. So that's a kind of a running...
Are you all right?
These people.
I'm going to be fine, Father. Thanks to this traveler.
Oh, okay.
Can we get me off of this rock now?
Hold on, Morvani. I've got you.
Yeah, that's some good looking jumping animations. And I guess you just disappeared and reappeared over there. Good on you, Nightcrawler. Okay. Oh, okay, no, that's a character. Okay, that's a player, not a guy in the game. I guess they just teleported her. I'm not sure what just happened there. So yeah, kind of some problems with the presentation every once in a while and stuff like that.
Traveler,
Yeah,
you
he's
found
grateful.
the
Why do you hate
Argonian.
Argonians? Argonians killed your wife, blah, blah, blah. I'm not super
Yes,
interested
well.
in any of that right now. So, we'll say one thing is that I kind of feel like the rewards you get from quests aren't super well laid out. They don't really give you a great idea of what you're gaining by doing any of these quests in terms of like how much experience and stuff. Wow, we need to get into some trouble here. We need to get some combat, but first I suppose we better spend this skill point. So I have one attribute point. The 3 attributes you can put things into are Magicka, Health, Stamina. Magicka is your mana. Health is pretty self-explanatory. Stamina seems to be you use it for sprinting and stuff like that, like you would imagine, but also some classes seem to use it for they're in place of Magicka. So I'm going to pump some into Magicka because I kind of tend to find that I don't have enough to get me through fights all the time. So yeah, one interesting thing is that, and something I really actually like about the game, is that just about everything can be leveled up in some way or another. I've joined a couple guilds here, the Undaunted, the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild, and it's unlocked a bunch of abilities for me that I can pump skill points into. But on top of that, I can pump skill points into light armor, which gives me new different skills like evocation for light armor, reduces the magic cost of spells, and then those spells and passive abilities and such will actually increase in power over time by using them more, which is pretty cool. It's something that I tend to really appreciate about MMOs. The only thing that seems to be determined by your class is these 3 abilities up here. Everything else you can basically get throughout the game. Racial abilities and stuff obviously determined by your race. That sounds pretty good. I'll put that in there. Health regen. And then that'll get better over time as I level up by using 2-handed weapons and doing other Nord-like things. Nords are the kind of Vikings of the Elder Scrolls universe. So yeah, like I said, I need to get into some trouble here. I need to show off the combat a little bit. It's more real-timey than most MMOs. That's not necessarily new. Terra has been doing that for a while. There's probably another one out there that I don't know about. I have heard people complaining that there are too many monsters around for you to explore the way that you would want to in an Elder Scrolls game. Oh, that was an accident. I have not found that to be the case. I've found that I can pretty much just wander around wherever I want, and certain monsters are definitely too strong for me to handle based on the zone that I've gone into, but I don't find that running around them and given the slip is too difficult. But if anything, I actually think that there's kind of a scarcity, not just of monsters, but of kind of everything. Like, there's not... kind of one of the great things about Elder Scrolls is that everywhere you go, there's something to steal, there's some dungeon to dive, there's some kind of thing to find, some legendary creature or whatever. Okay, so we got a Nyx Hound. I can easily take this fool. But yeah, there's not a lot of that stuff, especially for the crafting. And actually, the crafting is pretty interesting, and I'll get into that in a later video, in a later review diary. But I tend to find that there's just not a lot of it. Oh, this guy decided he wanted to start. So that's the interrupt, stunned, and then I can use my charged up hit, knock him down, hit him hard again, swinging. So yeah, pretty basic Elder Scrolls combat. Elder Scrolls has never been super tight. I feel like there's always been kind of a weird connection between the way that your weapon actually hits an enemy and the way that it reduces their health and such. Here, I think it's worse than it has been in the past, but depending on how good the server is at any given moment, it seems to be better or worse. So it's kind of up to your internet connections. Your mileage may vary, I guess, but let's use a spell here. A lot of good animation in first person and stuff like that. You can definitely tell that this game was not just shoehorned into first person perspective. It actually feels like, oh man, this guy had a lot of stuff. Inventory is full, huh? What can I get rid of? There's probably some junk, miscellaneous. Menus, not super great. Just big fat windows for you to look at stuff. But yeah, that's more or less all there is to the combat. You have a hotbar down there at the bottom, up to 5 skills, plus a quick slot item, which I think is a neat little thing that you can do. Right now I've got like a mana potion in there. See, stuff like this. This is the kind of stuff that I want to see more of in an Elder Scrolls game. But, like, what am I doing here? There's a chest there, there's some lights. This is probably tied to a quest that I don't have. And so me being here is completely pointless. So why would I ever explore if I didn't have quests to tell me to go there? Which is not something that I run into very often in the Elder Scrolls or other Bethesda games like Fallout. I tend to find that those work out pretty well just by tooling around. Combat's pretty basic, just like it's always been. But if that is something that has always been bothering you about an Elder Scrolls, or about MMOs rather, that they're not real time, that it's just a bunch of hotbars. This is definitely not that. So I would suggest checking that out. And obviously, like I said earlier, you can go into stealth mode, just like the other games. I haven't found it to be too super useful, for one reason or another. The main reason being that something's usually around to screw it up for me, or in this case, I'm a cleric, so stealthing isn't exactly something that I'm really good at anyway.
This
that's the combat. That's the questing. In the future, I'll show off things like the crafting and the PvP and stuff like that. But that's more or less how the game works. Pretty typical MMO. Pretty much whatever you expected an MMO Elder Scrolls hybrid to look like, this is it. There's no bells and whistles to it. But you can check out the next stuff, which will probably be a lot more interesting. The crafting, in particular, I really enjoy. In the future, you can check out the written review diary at GameZebo.com. You can check out my previous video on character creation, also on GameZebo.com or on YouTube on this same channel. Until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.